At our gender reveal party, my husband's family clapped and said, "If it's a girl, you'll have to keep trying until you give us a son." My husband laughed and whispered, "It's just tradition, babe." I smiled and said, "Funny, I have a tradition too." The room fell silent as I revealed my secret plan. When I first met Mark, he seemed normal. Good job, great sense of humor, loved his family. Nothing about him screamed red flag. His family, though? Different story. His mom had this weird way of treating him like the golden child, even though he was a grown man with a mortgage and a receding hairline. His dad never talked to me directly, always through Mark, as if I didn't have the ability to form thoughts on my own. And then there was his uncle. A loud, beer-bellied man who really enjoyed talking about how things used to be in a way that made me uncomfortable. But I let it go. I told myself it's just how they are. I told myself they're a little old-fashioned, but they'll come around. I was so wrong. The second I got pregnant, Mark's family started acting like they had full ownership over my body. His mom would say things like, "You need to eat more. You're feeding my grandson." His uncle would slap Mark on the back and say, "You finally knocked her up, huh? Hope it's a boy. You need someone to carry the name." At first, I laughed it off. Then Mark started joining in. "Babe, my family really wants a boy. It's tradition. If it's a girl, we'll just keep trying, right?" I thought he was joking. I needed him to be joking. But every time we talked about it, he got more serious. I wanted something small. Just close family, a cake, nothing crazy. His mom immediately took over. She invited everyone, extended family, childhood neighbors, people I didn't even recognize. Suddenly, it wasn't about us. It was about them. And then came the big moment. We popped the balloon. Pink confetti. The room? Silent. Not the excited kind of silence. Not the, "Oh my God, we're so shocked" silence. The disappointed kind. Then his uncle laughed, loudly, and clapped Mark on the back. "Welp, guess you'll just have to keep trying until you give us a son." And then, Mark laughed. Not a nervous chuckle. Not a "this is awkward" laugh. A real, genuine laugh. Then he leaned in, put his arm around me, and said, "It's just tradition, babe." That was the moment. That was the exact second I knew I was done. I took a deep breath, smiled, and said, "Funny, I have a tradition too." The room fell silent. I could feel the shift. That tension. The kind where people instinctively know something is coming, but they don't know what. I took my phone out, held it up, and pressed play. The video started. Mark, sitting at our kitchen table, beer in hand, talking to his best friend a few nights ago. "Nah, man, if it's a girl, I'll just keep trying. She'll give in. She always does. Besides, Mom would kill me if I didn't have a son to carry on the name." The silence was deafening. His mother went pale. His father's jaw clenched. Mark? Frozen. His uncle? Well, he just sat back and whistled, clearly enjoying the show. I turned to Mark, tilted my head, and asked, "So, let me get this straight. You weren't excited for the baby? You were just waiting to see if I was useful to your family?" He opened his mouth. I held up a hand. "Save it." Then I took off my wedding ring, set it on the table, and walked out. I walked out of that house like I was floating. Not because I was happy, far from it, but because I felt like I had detached from reality. I got in my car, drove to my sister's place, and sat in the driveway for a solid 10 minutes before my hands stopped shaking. Then my phone blew up. First, it was Mark. Then his mom. Then Mark again. I didn't answer. I just sat there, watching the missed calls pile up like a countdown to the explosion I knew was coming. When I finally walked inside, my sister took one look at me, saw the ring was gone, and said, "Oh, hell. What did he do?" So I told her. She didn't even blink before she grabbed a bottle of wine and poured us both a glass. I didn't hear from Mark in person until the next morning. At 6 a.m., he was banging on my sister's door like a damn SWAT team. I opened it, looking half asleep and completely uninterested while he stood there, breathless, eyes wild. "What the hell was that?" he demanded. I sipped my coffee. Calm. Collected. Watching him fall apart. "What was what?" I said, voice sweet. "You humiliated me in front of my entire family." I leaned against the doorframe and stared at him. "Humiliated? Oh, you mean when I played a video of your own words? Yeah, that must have been tough for you." His hands curled into fists at his sides. "Not a good look. You completely overreacted," he shouted. "I was joking. Everyone knew I was joking." I raised an eyebrow. "Funny," I said. Nobody was laughing when I walked out. Mark ran a hand through his hair, exhaling hard. He was panicking. "Good. Okay, fine. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. But, babe, come on. You can't just throw away our marriage over one stupid mistake." "One stupid mistake?" I repeated, tilting my head. Then I did something that completely broke him. I smiled. Oh, Mark. You don't even realize what's about to happen, do you? When Mark finally left, after an hour of him trying to gaslight me into coming back, I called my lawyer. And guess what? Thanks to a little clause in our prenup, Mark was completely screwed. See, when we got married, I had money. Not rich money, but comfortable, independent, don't need a man to survive money. Mark, on the other hand? Not so much. So my family, being the blessing they are, insisted on a prenup. And in that prenup? A very special disrespect clause. If Mark ever publicly humiliated me, degraded me, or treated me as less than an equal, he would walk away with nothing. No house, no shared savings, no spousal support, nothing. I didn't even have to prove the disrespect in court. The video was enough. So, when Mark's mom finally called me, after what I can only assume was a full night of screaming at her son, she did what I expected. She begged. You can't do this. You can't just take everything away from him. I put her on speaker and let my sister listen as I leaned back on the couch. Oh, Susan. I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm just leaving him with what he deserves. Then I hung up. And that was just the beginning. I thought that would be the worst of it. I thought Mark would just accept defeat and move on. But 2 days later, I got a call that changed everything. It was Mark's grandmother. The same tiny old woman who had been sitting in that living room with the American flag, watching everything unfold. Her voice was too calm when she spoke. Sweetheart, she said, I need to tell you something before this gets uglier. Do you have time? I hesitated. Then I said, I'm listening. And what she told me made my blood run cold. I sat on my sister's couch, gripping my phone like it might explode. Mark's grandmother, this tiny, 92-year-old woman who had laughed when I exposed her grandson, was on the other end, her voice calm but sharp. I've been waiting for a woman in this family to do what you did, she said. I swallowed. What do you mean? She sighed, long and slow. Mark isn't the first man in our family to pull this kind of thing, she said. And if you don't put a stop to it completely, he won't be the last. I sat up straighter. Put a stop to what? The way they treat women. The way they use them. I thought Mark's family was just old-fashioned. I thought they were just a little outdated in their thinking. But I was so wrong. Mark's grandmother told me everything. His great-grandfather? Married 3 times, discarded the first 2 wives when they didn't produce enough sons. His grandfather? Made his wife have 6 children before he finally got a boy. Treated his daughters like second-class citizens. Mark's father? Cheated on his wife repeatedly because she failed by having only 1 son. And Mark? He had grown up in this toxic, twisted mindset. He was raised to believe that women were just means to an end. Listen to me, sweetheart, his grandmother said. I've watched this family destroy women for decades. I didn't have the power to stop it, but you do. I already left him, I said. She chuckled. Oh, I know. But that's not enough. I frowned. What do you mean? There was a pause. Then she lowered her voice. How would you like to burn him? Completely. In a way that he and his family will never recover from. I wasn't sure what she was offering. But I knew one thing for sure. I wanted in. I'm listening, I said. And what she told me next. It changed everything. You want to burn him? I repeated, gripping my phone tighter. Mark's grandmother chuckled low, knowing. I don't just want to burn him, sweetheart. I want to set fire to all of it. And then she told me everything. Mark's family had money, not billionaire wealth, but enough to keep their name respected in Charleston. Enough to keep secrets buried. But Mark's grandmother? She was old, and she was done watching the men in her family destroy women. I couldn't leave, she said. I didn't have the money. I didn't have the power. But you? Oh, honey, you do. Then she told me about Mark's father. How he had hidden assets under the family name to avoid taxes. How he had a second family in Savannah, one his wife knew about but never spoke of. How the entire family business, this respectable real estate empire, was built on fraud. Mark doesn't know half of it, she continued. But I do. And if you're willing to listen, I'll tell you exactly where to look. I took a slow breath. Why are you telling me this? Her voice hardened. Because I want to watch them fall. And I think you do, too. She was right. I spent the next week gathering evidence. Mark had started texting me, long, desperate messages about how we could still fix things, how we shouldn't throw away our marriage over a misunderstanding. I ignored him. Because I was busy. Busy following the money. Busy contacting lawyers. Busy leaking just enough information to get the right people interested. And when the pieces were finally in place, I invited Mark and his family to dinner. We met at one of Charleston's most expensive restaurants. Mark showed up first, looking smug, like he thought I had come crawling back. His mother arrived next, wearing a strained smile, clearly thinking she could fix everything. His father, cold and silent. His uncle, already half-drunk, muttering about dramatic women. And finally, Mark's grandmother. She was beaming, because she knew what was coming. I ordered wine, let them all get comfortable. And then, slowly, I took out my phone, scrolled through my emails, and turned the screen toward Mark's father. "Recognize this?" I asked. He frowned, took the phone, and his face went pale. Mark leaned over to look. "What is that?" "Oh," I said lightly, "just a little something I sent to the IRS. And the local newspaper. And a few of your business partners." His father's hands shook as he read. Then he exploded. "You stupid little..." He barely got the words out before Mark's mother gasped, grabbing the phone. Her eyes filled with tears as she scrolled, her hands trembling. Mark still didn't understand. "What the hell is going on?" he snapped. So I told him. I told him about the fraud. I told him about the hidden assets. I told him about his father's secret family in Savannah. I told him everything. The restaurant was dead silent. Even his uncle had sobered up, watching in horrified fascination. And Mark? For the first time since I met him, he looked small. He turned to his father, eyes wide. "Dad?" His father didn't say a word. His mother? She let out a shaky, broken laugh before grabbing her purse and walking out. Mark's father followed, muttering curses under his breath. His uncle downed the rest of his drink and stumbled after them. And then it was just Mark and me. And his grandmother. She took a sip of her wine, sighed happily, and said, "Well, that was fun." Mark just sat there, staring at the table. I tilted my head, watching him. "You haven't said much." He blinked slow. He swallowed. His voice cracked. "You ruined my family." I leaned forward. "No, Mark. Your family ruined itself." I just turned the lights on. His jaw clenched. His hands balled into fists. "You didn't have to do this," he whispered. "No," I said. "What was it you told me at the gender reveal?" "It's just tradition." He flinched. "His grandmother?" She laughed. "Oh, honey," she said to Mark. "I told you one day a woman would be smarter than you. Guess today's the day." Mark looked at her like she had betrayed him. But she just gave him a pat on the hand, grabbed her coat, and turned to me. "Come on, dear," she said. "Let's get dessert somewhere else. I don't like the company here." I stood. "Mark?" He didn't move. He just sat there, staring at everything he had just lost. And for the first time since this nightmare started, I felt free. The next few weeks were chaos. Mark's family crumbled. The IRS came knocking. His father's business shut down overnight. His mother filed for divorce. His uncle disappeared. And Mark? He really tried to play the victim. He sent messages, long, desperate texts, saying he was sorry, that he loved me, that he never meant for things to turn out this way. I ignored them all, because I had won. And as for his grandmother, she sent me a bottle of champagne, with a note attached, to the only woman in this family smart enough to leave. "Well done, sweetheart." And that was the end of Mark's tradition. And the beginning of mine.